Welcome to The Difference TV. I'm Dr. Robin Mills. Do you remember the first time you heard that everyone has to die? What impact did that have on you? For my next guest, Haille Denniston, hearing that everyone has to die had such an impact on her. Haille, would you mind sharing with us the experience you had when you learnt that we all have to die?
Yes, I'd love to. I remember exactly where I was standing at that moment. I also remember that my pet sheep had just had a nasty accident, and this was my parents' way of comforting me. To be honest, it was easier to handle what was happening to the sheep than it was to take in this new information, that life has to end for everybody. I knew that God was loving, and I didn't believe that he would organise things this way. It just felt wrong. So I asked my other parent, I asked other people I trusted, and I always got the same story. Yes, you have to die, and that's just life. Eventually I just had to go along with it. It was over 20 years later that I finally met people that not only gave me permission to doubt and question, but also taught me the science of physical immortality. So I got to work unlearning all the death conditioning that I'd taken on. Now I live as if I'm immortal, and I am remembering how to be more loving and trusting like a child. And I want everyone to know that there's a growing school of thought that says that we have a choice about death. And I've written a book answering all the obvious questions that people have, obviously, and explaining the spiritual concepts behind physical immortality and the science that backs them up. Yeah.
It's such a big paradigm shift. This is the first time that I've even heard about physical immortality. Obviously I've heard about eternal life, but it's the first time I've heard about this big paradigm shift about immortal living. Can you explain any more about it?
Well, what I've learned is that the belief that we have to age and die is based on upside down thinking, and major paradigm shifts have to happen. For example, the first thing that we need to get is that our body isn't real, and that nothing that we perceive is solid. Scientists know that. School children know that. We have to really get it. It's more than just thinking outside the box. It's about understanding that the box is, we made the box up, and with all its limitations, and if we hadn't, it couldn't get there. It couldn't be there in the first place.
So what effect would this have for the viewer? So if we were able to embrace this paradigm shift, how would that affect our viewers and our community?
Well, think about the effects of the belief in death and endings and loss on the world that we see around us. Think about the violence, the grasping for short-term gain. Imagine what it would be like to know for sure that nobody has to be a victim, and that you and the people that you love could live happily and healthily for as long as you want, and along with everybody else. How would you live your life differently? And how would you treat the planet that we all live on and the people that you share it with? It changes everything.
It changes everything. It's such a huge idea to grasp, and the idea that having that thought will change the way we relate to each other. Can you explain any more about that? How that thought, the thought that we're not going to die, will have us be less of a victim? I ask the tough questions. I do ask the tough questions.
I explain all this in my book, basically, because it's quite a hard thing to be able to summarise in a minute or two.
So I'm wondering then, if there's something that you would really like to say to our listeners, one last final point, that would really make the difference for them about this paradigm shift, about physical immortality, what would that be?
I'd just like to ask, how committed are you to dying?
That's a huge thing to say, isn't it? How committed are you to dying? How committed are you to living?
Yes, it's surprising. And I invite you to give yourself permission to question the status quo and to examine all the information and to decide for yourself what feels right to you, death or life.
What feels right to you, death or life? And would you consider physical immortality as a possibility? I'm Dr. Robin Mills from The Difference TV. May you live your difference.
www.thedifference.tv